Hello. We are the Gallant few. A very busy week for Rangers this week. A nervy 8-0 victory over Hamilton in the Scottish Premier League. A disappointing draw with Benfica in Portugal. Never thought I'd be saying that a week ago. Records being broken and club suspensions which don't involve Alfredo Morelos. So joining me to discuss all this, we have Colin McDuff. How are we, Colin?
My nerves are shattered after that nervy 90 minutes, as you alluded to. But other than that, I'm okay, Scott.
Good to hear. And Craig McAdam.
How you doing, boys?
That's not bad. So before we get started on the everything on and off the field, a lot of stuff happening with the Gallant Few podcast. First of all, we've now got a YouTube channel, so please search the Gallant Few, like and subscribe it. Colin, how much are you shitting yourself in case you need to be in camera soon?
I'm terrified, man. I better get my Davina McCall DVDs out, get in shape.
It's probably for the best that we just stay off the camera just now. We don't want to scare all our listeners away, to be fair. So that might be a while for that. So we're also in talks with sponsorships for the podcast. So some news of that will be in the next few weeks. We're at the final stages of recording and releasing some fresh content in terms of a series which we'd love for some of the listeners to get involved in. So please get in touch if you'd like to be involved. It will involve favourite players and certain shows will get lined up. So please get in touch if you would like to be involved. You'll find us in all the usual platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So please give us a follow. So exciting times for the podcast, Craig. From a few pals being bored in lockdown, what are you thinking?
It's fast becoming a global empire, isn't it? Colin taking over. Yeah, but it's going well because, as you say, it was just something to do during lockdown when we were bored out our tits and had nothing else to do. So I'm surprised it's lasted this long, to be honest.
See, I don't want to get us into too much trouble. See the comments I made about Mike Ashley. Now that people want to pay his money for talking about Rangers, they need to go and retract them and say he's not a fat bastard.
Yeah, I think you're just stating facts, aren't you?
The press release will be about soon, anyway. So enough with selling the pod. We'll get on to the game today against Hamilton. So we had a starting 11 of John McLaughlin, James Tavernier, Leon Balogun, Connor Goldson, Borna Barisic, Ryan Jack, Joe Aribo, Scott Arfield, Ryan Kent, Kamar Ruth and Jermaine Defoe. Don't know why I done their full names there. But 5 changes to the game. Colin, what was your thoughts on the team? Did you expect so many changes from midweek?
I did expect a few changes, yes. I think it was a heavy night in Thursday night. It's always difficult playing Thursday, Sunday or Wednesday, Saturday, but especially when you're travelling as well. And to be honest, I don't think we need to rely on the same 11 players 2 games a week. I think we've got a strong enough squad to make the changes, and you look at that first 11 that we had there, there's no maybe a bit of a shock, that not quite shock, but a surprise that McLaughlin came in for McGregor. Other than that, I think the majority of people would have been happy with the team that we put out.
I think it's ridiculous to think, but McLaughlin probably could have had his hands handcuffed today, and you know what I mean? That's the reality we're in. It's we're so dominant at home, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of the games we've played, it really doesn't make a difference who we've gotten goals. It's going that well and we're defending so solidly. So I kind of expected him to come in. I was thinking that Defoe would be up front because even going back to last season, these are the sort of games that Defoe's tended to start in. And I was expecting a few changes as well. The only one I would say I wanted to see play today was Hollander. I thought just to go over, because he's been brilliant for us all season and obviously had a bit of a nightmare on Thursday night. So I was thinking just give him another game, get a solid performance in and move on from the mistakes he made.
Just on Hollander, Craig, I think it's important that...
Colin, I'm going to need to stop you there. breaking news coming out of the Gallant Few podcast. We've got a new signing. Everybody thought the transfer window was shut, but they've just pulled a coup out the bag. Scott Carney, how you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No problem. Just like Zungu making his debut today on the Gallant Few podcast. So Scott's going to be joining us. He's planning a new series for us, so it's been great to get his insight. So yeah, welcome to the Gallant Few, Scott.
Glad to be here.
No, good to have you here. So we'll just get straight back to it. We got off to a lightning start with 3 goals within 19 minutes. So I'll come to you with them. So Scott, we'll touch on you. Arfield, I was a bit surprised. He's played in every game this season. Opened the scoring with a really nice play involving Defoe and Kent. Really nice goal. What's your thoughts on how Arfield's done this season so far?
I think Arfield didn't start the season great, and kind of obviously wasn't in the manager's kind of first thoughts of the team. But since he got himself in with Aribo being injured, I think his performances have been fantastic. His work rates, it's incredible. He's off the ball stuff that he does is great. I thought the goal today was brilliant. I know Defoe didn't get a goal today, but some of Defoe's link up playing that today was class in the past to put into Kent. It was just a well worked goal. I was dreading it, thinking it was going to be one of these games where we were going to be battling for 45 minutes to maybe get a goal. Obviously, what happened today was pretty tremendous for all of us. But yeah, as far as Arfield goes, he'd be in my team every week right now.
That's interesting because I don't think MD would have had him as a starting. Certainly not the one like starting every game at the start of the season, but he's sort of played his way into the mind of the manager with some really good performances. So I think just Craig, I'll touch on it with you. His attitude is fantastic, isn't it? And somebody we want at the club.
I think it shows what's going on with the whole squad at the moment, because at the start of the season, for me, I was thinking we need to sign better players, and maybe Davis and Arfield would become your squad players, which just takes your whole squad up a level. So in my head at the start of the season, I didn't see him being a regular, but it just shows the standards that when you've got somebody like him, he comes in, he takes his chance, and he doesn't let the manager drop him. It's keeping those standards high, and then that means whoever's not playing, they need to raise their game again, and now we're seeing it with all the midfielders. And we've got 6 centre mids and they're all flying at the moment. Zongu came in today and done well. Probably won't get an easier game than that, but I'd say it's an ideal one to come in and get your first taste of it. Look really composed and comfortable, so it's looking good all round.
I think that's a good point you make. I think apart from probably Goldson, Tavernier, Barisic, Kent, there's not really any person that's going to play 5 out of 5 games, for example. The likes of Arfield, Davis, Jack, they'll probably play like maybe 3 and 5 games or something. Do you know what I'm saying with that, Colin? Like there's no one who's got a bang on certainty apart from these probably players who they're going to play automatically.
No, we talk about it every week about players up in their game and having a strength and depth where players need to take their chance. Just on our field, everybody's kind of bypassed that he's not playing for Canada anymore, and it kind of went under the radar. Wasn't an official announcement or anything like that. We just kind of heard from Gerard that he's no longer going to be playing for Canada, and I think first of all that's I think that's shown Arfield's commitment to Rangers, because it's to play an international level for any country, it's a massive boost for any player. So the fact that he's prioritising Rangers over that, it just shows you how committed he is, and we're seeing the benefits for that. In terms of the midfield 6 you're talking about, it's cliche, but the best headache a manager can have. Everybody is taking their chances, especially in the middle of the park, and I'd be happy if we didn't see the same midfield 3 2 games in a row, if it means that everybody's kept on their toes.
I think as well, when we're playing an opposition, they don't know how to. I reckon maybe that was a downfall. Maybe in previous seasons, they know who's going to be playing. this freshens it up. So, if you've got they don't know if the likes of Aribo or Arfield, it's a completely different challenge to facing some of the other options that we have. So I think it is good to have. Craig, I know you're a big fan of Kemar Roofe. Kemar Roofe's not somebody who's just tall. He's still a big threat in the air with a great header today he scored. What do you think of his start in general? And do you think, question is, if he is 100% fit, do you think he would be in our strongest 11 playing the likes of, Celtic or a big European game?
What a question that is, Scotty boy. Fuck knows is my answer. I don't think we have a best 11. I think it depends on who we're playing. Like if you look at a midfield away to Benfica, Davis, Kamara and Jack, that's not our best midfield for playing at home at Hamilton. And it probably goes the same up front as well. There'll be certain defences that Morelos is suited to. We've seen away to Kelly last week that made sense to bring Itten in as well for a bit more presence. So I really don't think we have a best 11, which is in a good way, just because the squad's so strong. But I was really happy when we got Roofe in, and I still believe. And I watched an interview with Ross Wilson and Rangers TV that I think the plan was to sell Morelos, but we were holding out for a certain figure and that never came. So I think it's a bonus that we've got both of them, because as I say, I don't think that was the intention at the start of the season, still to have Morelos and Roofe here. But he's been a wee bit unlucky. We've picked up a couple of injuries, but just the more game time he gets and stays away from injuries, I think he'll get stronger and stronger, and he'll score plenty of goals. Plus, he's obviously got the talent to score the goal that he did in Europe a couple of weeks ago. That was, I think it got like 4 million views or something like that. It's a sensation. So, I think it depends on the game and depends on the tactics, how we're setting up. But as I say, I don't think we have a best 11 in a good way.
I think it does show how far we've come, that we're spending, one of the highest, it's speculated about 4 or 5 million, and you look about in the past, 10 years or something, if we'd have signed them, you'd almost thought that they have to play every game, they're our best player. And now we're actually having a debate whether is it our best option in certain games, So I think it's a great dilemma to have, and I think there's definitely more to come from as well. So, it's a really good dilemma to have. Scott, there's 2 goals from Joe Aribo. So we had 2 deflected goals as well. What was your thought on them? Do you think they were a bit lucky, or do you think it was good? Good goals, good play.
I think the play from kind of both of them were really good. I think Joe Aribo's very dangerous. I would 100% agree that we don't have a best starting 11 just now. I don't think you could pick up. I think everybody would have a different one. And when's the last time as Rangers fans we can say that we could do that? So I mean, it's positive all round, really. I think this year everybody's games just went up a level. Aribo not even being fully fit and getting 2 all right. This, especially the second one, I think he was a bit fortunate to get. But I mean, the cross in from Tav and then the way Roofe picked the ball back up was fantastic. It was interesting the day I seen Gerrard's interview at the end. Roofe played angry today, and I thought Roofe definitely one of Roofe's best performances to me today. I thought he was great. He looked dangerous. As I say, right now, I wouldn't want Steven Gerrard to be picking the team, especially against Benfica. I don't know what team he's going to play. But I mean, what a headache to have. But as I say, I thought Aribo was brilliant today. I struggled to pick a man of the match today, so it kind of tells you how good the team played, I think.
Colin, 2 changes at half time. Bassi and Zungu came on for Jack and Barisic. What did you make of Zungu's debut?
I think within the first couple of minutes, it was just. At first, I thought he was maybe to show off, but he was paying passes like left, right, and centre, and he looked very composed on the ball. And I think from then on, it set the kind of pace to or set the scene to show off his passing. I think without doing anything too spectacular, he settled into the team very well. It's so difficult to come into a game, especially at half time when you're 4-0 up, and it's so easy for the game to go flat. When you're making your debut, you don't want to come on to a flat game when players are winding down. Fair play to Zungu and Bassi and the rest of the team as well for not letting it go flat. I think if you look back to early in the season when we were 3-0 up after 49 minutes against St Johnstone, I think it was, and that last 40 minutes, the game just died a death, and it was terrible to watch. Absolute polar opposite today. I think Bassi came in. He knows he's the understudy to Borna Barisic. He wants to make an impact every time he comes on. Zungu, it's his first time in the Rangers jersey. So they two were well up for it, but well played to the rest of the team as well, because they didn't keep the foot off the gas. Gerrard mentioned in his interview as well, he didn't want showboating anything like that, and they weren't. It was just a really professional performance, and that showed in the scoreline.
Yeah, absolutely. Craig, what in terms of Zungu, I think it looks very different to anything we've got in the midfield, and that's obviously 45 minutes at home when we're 4-0 up. But I think it's very hard to judge Sunday when the game's so comfortable. But I think you don't see like a Kamara, dropping deep to Ryan Kent and the second minute of your debut. I think it does give us a different option and will be useful for us.
Based on what we've seen today, I would probably compare him to Davis if I was comparing him to anyone. You're right, Kamara, Jack, they don't exactly ping the ball across the pitch the way that he was. But as I say, Davis was doing that a lot against Benfica during the week. So ideally, if you could sort of get two of each type of midfielder, and then you can just rotate between them. So it might be a case we only see Zungu if Davis isn't playing. But as well, that's only based on an easy shift against Hamilton, watching him control the middle of the park. Maybe he's got more. Maybe he can play box to box. So as I say, it's only been 45 minutes and he's done well, but it was an easy afternoon for him. So it'll be interesting once he gets some starts, or if he comes into a tougher game, to see exactly what he's like. But based on what he done today, I think we can be happy with him and welcome into the squad.
Absolutely. Let's hope he builds on that impressive debut. So in the second half, going up 4 goals. Roof grabbed his second, Barker getting a goal, and James Tavernier grabbing a double. Probably be here all day trying to talk about every goal. But Scott, James Tavernier, joint top goal scorer in the league now. Just incredible, isn't it? 11 goals. Is it 11 goals? 8 goals, is it?
Some horse Stuart.
I'm not sure.
I've not done my research, sorry.
I take one.
I think it.
I don't know how many goals.
I think I heard after his second, that's him the joint top goal scorer in the league. All right, a lot of them have been penalties, but for a right back, I mean, that's an unbelievable return. He's another one, especially. I think he's upped his game again. I think he's shown leadership. And I questioned Tav as a captain. I was one of them back at the start where I was like, should it be Tav? But his performance is unbelievable. The quality of his balls that he can put into the box it's frightening. I mean, Hamilton were beat obviously within 20 minutes today, but they had another good hour of us. I think towards the end of the game we kind of took the foot off the gas, which is to be expected. 8-0, and plus we had one centre midfielder on the park, I think, at the end in Zungu, and we had Barker playing in the middle of the park. So I mean, but I think Tav especially, he's priceless for us just now. I don't think we can afford to lose him in any way, shape or form. I don't think he looks like he wants to go. I think he's fully committed to being here, and hopefully I'm going to see him lift 55 at the end of this year. So I'm saying he deserves it.
I think everything you said, Scott, there's spot on, and we're all dreaming of seeing that. But something I really loved was, I don't know if you watched his interview after the game as well. It just seems so level-headed. It could be easy to be all giddy and cheery after winning 8-0, but it is only Hamilton, it is only 3 points. So I loved to come out with, it was a really serious interview talking about how they've done well, but they need to do more and they need to keep it going. So just the whole mentality that's coming out of the team and the manager's interview is the same as well. I'm just loving to see it.
You're right, Craig. It was so focused. Even after the game, he's still so switched on. It's what you said there about a lot of his goals are penalties this year, but I think that does him a disservice. We talk about his penalties. He's so far up the park all the time, and he's not got to get the goal for open play every time. But that's so important to how we play. He drags the opposition defenders out of the position. He creates space for the attackers to go in, and he got his goal for open play today. And he's just he is leading by example, and it's absolute peak James Tavernier. It's the best he's ever been, and I was about to say a Rangers jersey, but in his career.
Yeah, I mean, you need to feel some sympathy actually of the fact that people coming against this and they think, how are we going to defend against Rangers? And I actually think it must be so hard because, you know, usually when you're defending against a team, you think about, you know, the wingers and things like that, and maybe you're a bit negligent about, you know, the fullbacks, but when you look at Rangers, they're just such a threat. And even like we've not even spoken about Bassey here. I thought Bassey came on and done really well. You know, he put some good deliveries in. He's so athletic, quick, and as I say, his delivery seems brilliant. What do you think, Colin?
He's got a great haircut as well. Let's not go over that. For somebody sporting a questionable hairline, I'm jealous of that boy. No, you're right, and it just really shows you how strong we are at fullback. That he, like, as much as we're all comfortable with him coming in the team, he's nowhere near Barisic for me. But you know, this was good for him to get minutes because I think he's kind of proved that he's up for the challenge when he came in against Standard Liège. And we said it time and time again, and the history of repeating what we said in previous shows, the important part is that we can bring players in all across the field now who don't change our game plan. We don't need to, it's not a case that Barisic going off and John Flanagan coming in. No disrespect to John Flanagan, but we don't have any attacking threat to the left-hand side now, and we do with Bassey. That's the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
So I think with Bassey, you're kind of spot on as well. I think he's kind of misconceiving to look at him as a footballer. Like the first time I seen him, I thought this guy could take Joshua in 12 rounds. I think. Do you know what I mean? The speed of him, even for the size of him, it's incredible. That when we were breaking forward, I can't remember, it was for one of the goals. I can't remember what one it was. There was that many today, which is another great thing to be able to say. But it's unbelievable. He just keeps going. And if you were a defender, if you're Lee Hodgson, for example, and that guy's running at you, I don't want to get in that guy's way. I don't want to be the one that has to try and stop Bassey coming forward. So I think he's young. He's definitely, old cliches. Obviously, he's still raw, but I think the potential of this guy's massive. I really think it is. If you can keep a hold of him and he can keep developing and learning from Gerrard, learning from Bale, McAllister, and being Barisic's understudy, it's only a good thing for us. And in the end, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think in terms of the recruitment process, I think we played, I didn't even realise this, but we played Leicester, and I think it was Leicester's youth team in a friendly, and that's where we picked him up. So it's brilliant that we're looking, prizing them away from there. I mean, I don't know if it was maybe Leicester made them, you know, he didn't offer him a contract or something, but I'm sure there was plenty of other takers in either the Premier League or the Championship which would have taken a wee risk on him. So fair play that we're able to attract that sort of calibre of youth talent as well there. Last point in the game, so we got 8 goals today, Craig. Not one of them was from Defoe, who, maybe not saying this right, but playing as a lone striker, and I'm saying that in inverted commas. It's so pleasing, isn't it, to see goals from everywhere, and we don't need to worry about Morelos not scoring, isn't
it? Just touching on there what you were talking about, like, was he playing as a lone striker? I don't even know if he played a formation today. People,
is it Barker? Like, feels highlighting my day.
There was a point in the first half that we had Tav and Barisic both away down the left wing. Like, the Hamilton players probably have whiplash. They've been turning their heads that quick. There's just bodies flying past them, the ball going in the opposite direction, just not having a clue what runner to go with. It was brilliant to see. Goldson and Balogun were bombing forward at times as well. So I genuinely don't know if we did play a formation today. We just ran over the top of Hamilton. But Defoe, he's seen him try to take the penalty off Tav as well. He's a goal scorer, isn't he? Just is desperate to get goals. Unlucky when he hit the post as well. He managed to get his assist for, was it Barker's goal? He got the assist for it. So he's still involved. He played well. I think that's the role that we'll get out of Defoe this season. That the sort of easier home games is when we can maybe afford to give Morelos a day off, and we'll bring Defoe in, and you're going to get a performance, and majority of games you'll probably even get a goal off him. So it's 38 as well to keep that in mind. So if we can keep him doing that and ticking over, you might get another season out of him as well.
Absolutely. And last point, Colin, Lee Hodgson or James Tavernier? Who would you rather have as right back?
I feel sorry for Lee Hodgson. He would have thought his nightmares at Ibrox were over, then he rocked up the day and got that shit show. James Tavernier edges it for me.
Good to hear. So we'll move on to Thursday night an action-packed game away to Benfica. 3 draw, which was definitely hard to take. Scott, at the time, I'm assuming you were absolutely gutted not to get the 3 points, but are you feeling any different now that it's settled a wee bit?
Yeah, I was gutted. It was one of the games that I couldn't believe what was happening. It's just when you see the Benfica team, I think it was 3 of the players were something about 80 million combined, and our whole team when they cost that. Do you know what I mean? So we were playing a kind of top class opposition. Arguably they shouldn't be in the Europa League. They should be in the Champions League, and we find ourselves 3-1 up. Okay, we kind of throw it away. Hollander was trying his best to do a Rob Kiernan impression. It's the only thing that I can think. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what happened. I know it wasn't just him, but I mean, for 2 of the goals especially, I don't know what he's thinking about. I was gutted when it finished 3 each. I was absolutely gutted. It was helped by the neighbours across the city with their fantastic performance. Don't get me wrong, and it kind of put things into perspective for me that we've just done 3 each with our Champions League team. They've just got beat 4-1 at home off. Well, it was rumoured to be a part-time electricians. I don't think it was, but in hindsight, it's a fantastic point for us. It really is. It puts us in a great position. I think we're a win away from being through. So, yeah, it was sore to take at the time, but the old cliche again, if you offered me it before the game, I would have bit your hand off for it.
Yeah, I was going to do a question. Craig, would you have taken a point before the game?
Well, firstly, it says in Wikipedia that they're part-time electricians, so it's definitely true. It
might be me that edited that though, mate, to be fair.
I remember doing the pod after we won at Parkhead and saying we've got 6 big games coming up. We'd be looking to win every game in the league and be undefeated in Europe, and that's what we've done. So if you look at it from that window, from the last international break to this one, we've been sensational, haven't we? It was disappointing to draw in the end. And if you sort of take away the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of the Benfica game, we were sensational. That's some of the best football I've ever seen Rangers play, I think. I know it's against 10 men, which has an impact as well, but it's still a brilliant team we're playing against. Tough place to go, still a big European night. So on the night it was a bit disappointing that we didn't do better, but overall I don't think we can really complain.
So moving on, the starting 11 was McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Hollander, Barisic, Kamara, Davis, Jack, Kent, Aribo, Morelos. So I don't think, Colin, there was many surprises in that team. I guess probably the biggest talking point would have been Balogun out and Hollander in terms of the Europa League. He's started quite a lot in Europe. Obviously, hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, but I said last week I felt as though it would be harsh for Balogun to miss out because I think he's been excellent in Europe so far. I get that everyone has a bad game, but I mean, who did you want to start, and did Gerard get it right?
Well, I mean, these shows are free to listen to. Another random plug. So people would go back and listen. They'll know that I love Hollander. I think he's a great centre half. I would have wanted him before the game. I would have wanted him in the starting 11. What I would try to touch on when Craig mentioned Tillander before you jumped into your Jim Shite impersonation introducing Scott, I think we do need to be realistic with this team in general, and somebody like Tillander was probably, how do I word this? Somebody was due a bad performance, and Tillander has a lot of favour in the bank, so it's maybe best that he had it, because this team only got to keep this up for 60 games a season. I've said that before, and I think we do need to tailor the expectations, because Tillander, he had a hand to play in all 3 goals. It doesn't make him a bad centre half. We need to look at how solid he's been beforehand. I would have wanted him back in today just to maybe get a bit of confidence, because I don't think he's got to play for Sweden, and it might be a long time for him to kind of think over it. Hopefully he comes back. Yeah. But I think it's just one of those things. Any player can have it. You're probably got to come on it, but during the game I would have liked to have maybe seen the management team use a bit of game management and maybe bring on Balogun alongside Golson and Hollander. When you know your centre half's having a shocker, it's maybe not the best to just do a straight swap like for like. Maybe just give a bit more support. That's what I would have been looking for.
Question then, Craig. When if would you have done that? Would you have brought Balogun on, and when would you have done it? Would you have done it 3-1 or as soon as it got 3-2? Because what we'll talk about, when we went through the game, but we were very comfortable. So why would you change it?
I think that's, with hindsight, looking back, you should have done it. It worked obviously away to Kelly the weekend before, but during the game I was thinking more just make some subs just to kill a bit of time, do them one at a time just to kill a few minutes, waste some time. One of the things we have been doing really well this season is just the wee daft things that probably don't seem important, but they are, just like kicking the ball away a wee yard if it's a free kick, or somebody standing in front of it, or just making sure if the ball's going out for a throw in, you kick it away just to slow things down and get your shape back. So we have been doing that this season. I don't know, as I said, if I would have made that exact sub to bring on Balogun, but I would have made more subs just to sort of slow down the game and kill it off. And then obviously you're waiting on Scott Arfield just to hold the ball for the last couple of minutes. But nobody's going to be more annoyed at Scott Arfield for doing that than he would be himself. He'll be watching that back a million times going, why didn't I just keep the ball? Why didn't I turn back and play a wee pass? So it was good to see him get a goal today just to get that out of his system as well. But it just shows him the margins, especially when you're playing quality teams like Benfica, and they've got Darwin up front as well, that in a split second we go from being on an attack to picking the ball at the back of the net. But it is good because that shows we're playing at a high standard and we're playing against good teams, and that's where we want to be. So I would have made more subs, but I don't know if I would have made that exact change with Balogun. That's maybe more hindsight. They probably should have done that.
Scott, obviously we conceded in the first and second minute into the match. I thought personally we were in for a very long night. It was really poor defending. What do you think I was? Do you think it was nerves, or do you think what? Because Hollander's usually so reliable. Do you think it was just a bad night, or do you think the players maybe were a bit nervous?
Possibly. I would like to think that Gerrard's extremely honest with the players, and I don't think he's obviously going out with them and saying, right lads, just get a draw. I don't mean it like that, but I think it would have been a more measured kind of approach that he was thinking about it, explaining, look, this is a very, very good team we're about to go against. I know I kind of threw Hollander under the bus calling him Rob Kiernan. I agree with Colin. I would 100% started him. I don't think Gerrard made a bad choice in starting him. I think it was the correct choice. I think that mistake was kind of so out of nowhere, and because it happened so quickly, I think the rest of the team were just a bit kind of shook by it all. I don't think it was hard to tell if we looked nervous before it because it happened so quickly, so it's hard to judge in that terms. But in the first 10 minutes, I was the same as you. I thought we could get embarrassed here. The way they could break forward at pace was frightening. They were very close just before the 10-minute mark. They just got one just by the post as well, and I was sitting kind of the same as you, thinking, I hope this isn't one of the kind of long nights. I think Handler's just had a bad one. I don't think you can really put anything down to it. I was a wee bit shocked he didn't start today. I thought they would have played him just to get it out of his system. But I think he'll be fine. He's a professional, he's an international. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. He'll bounce back and we'll see him in the starting 11 again soon.
I've heard he got an invite to the party that Jordan Jones and George Edmondson's actually cheer him up, so get him in a better mood. So obviously the big turning point in the game was the sending off in the 19th minute when Otamendi pulled back Ryan Kent. Don't think there can be many complaints regarding the red card. Colin, I thought Kent done brilliantly to get into that position, to get pulled back by the defender. Really intelligent play. What you thought on that?
What I like most about this, that was, you can tell this was premeditated. No necessarily for Otamendi to get sent off, but they wanted him turning with Kent going in behind him. You can see the balls that we were trying to play from midfield. They wanted Kent to use the pace and put Otamendi under pressure, and their defence under pressure, because Kent will beat them on a foot race any day of the week. And with testament to the midfield, we got the ball in the right areas. Brilliant ball in. I can't remember who it was. It might have actually been Connor Goldson. It was a long ball over, and that's what Rangers will want to do: expose their defence. Ideally, they would have been thinking a goal, but it turned out the sending off helped us as well.
Yeah, to be honest, it was probably for the best. I think personally, the way they started the game, that we got a red card instead of a goal at that point. Why do you think, Craig, that we've seen such an improvement in our performance? Do you think it's just the obvious that we had a man advantage, or do you think it was, something else?
I think the way we play, because we can control a game and we're good at wee quick passes and 1-2s and getting people moving about. So having the extra space for that would make a difference. But probably the main thing was just how quick we managed to go from 1-0 down to 2-1 up. I think the longer it goes on, if you get a man sent off early, you can just compact as a team and sit behind the ball, and at a certain point, having a man less can not make much of a difference. But because we managed to get on top of it so quick, obviously getting the equaliser and then Kamara getting the second goal, it just completely changed the game. And then you just see us getting more confident and them less confident, and then we're absolutely flying in the second half as well. Probably get too confident, actually. That might be what the problem was in the end.
You may have a point there. With two quick fire goals. First, a spectacular finish from Diogo Gonzalez. Luckily for our Rangers fans, it was into his own net. The build-up play for this, well, actually all of our goals were spectacular. Davis linking up superbly with Tav down the right, who fires in a really dangerous cross into the area. Scott, just another couple of assists for James Tavernier. Obviously, we've touched on how he played today. He's just on fire now, isn't he? And I thought, especially for this goal, he done brilliantly.
Yeah, it's extremely good play for Tav. The run that he made to keep himself, he kind of ran straight across instead of going deep, kept himself on side. I've got no idea what I'm even attempting to do, by the way, not that I'm complaining. But I mean, he's completely unaware of what's going on about him. If he'd have just left that go, he'd have been fine. But I mean, what a finish from him, to be fair, it was great. I think the second goal is one of the best goals we've scored this season. The pass, the work to get from our goal line up the park to Morelos that pass into Kamara. And I don't know about you, but I've been screaming for Kamara to shoot more often. The way he plays with Finland, he plays so much further forward, and he has got that to his game. So I'm always screaming for him to shoot, and I thought Kamara's goal was absolute class, and you could see what it meant to him. The smile on Kamara's face was unbelievable after he scored. But as I said, none of this is possible really without Tav. He's extremely important to us. I can't really sing his praises high enough. I absolutely love him. And as I say, it's only positive. Now looking back on it, the whole performance is positive. Maybe if I say apart from the 4 minutes in the last 10 minutes, and it was a massive game, and that point could prove pivotal to us. So we'll wait and see how we got on when they come to Ibrox. I just wish that place was going to be full of us being there, because I think that could be an incredible night.
Yeah, no, I think everybody does, but the way we're playing with no fans, I don't know. Part of me wants to be in there, part of me doesn't. So, yeah. So you led us on nicely there, Scott, to obviously the goal to get us in the lead from Kamara Donna. You obviously mentioned Tav had a part to play in the second goal. Lovely play on the right hand side with Aribo and Morelos. First, obviously we need to give credit to Kamara firstly for the finish, but I thought midfield three, Colin, were just superb on Thursday. My personal man of the match was Stephen Davis. I thought he was absolutely everywhere. But in terms of Kamara, surely the priority is to get him a new and improved contract and tie him down to the club.
Aye, we do. It's last season, it was the old anecdote that sometimes he looked like a 50 grand player, other times he looked like a 5 million player. He's not looked like a 50 grand player at all this season. He's playing well above what we paid for him, and I'm under no illusions that Rangers are never going to keep every excellent player for the duration of their careers. But what we want to do, we want to get them tied in the right contract, and then when it is time for them to move on, we make sure we're making enough money from them, because it's just realistic where we are at this point. We're not going to keep on to world beaters. Glenn Kamara, he's slowly but surely, he's arguably on form one of the best midfielders in Rangers. Probably the last few games that he's played, there's arguments that he is the best midfielder at Rangers and in Scotland. How he's been playing, we need to make sure we get him tied down, and then he can just focus on his football. We want him. We don't want him worrying about do I need to look elsewhere, blah blah blah. What happens next? We want him focused, playing the way he's playing, and then when the time does come that he does move on, it's good for all parties.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was asked in a press conference recently about the contract, and I think everybody remains a bit tight-lipped at that. But we hope we've gave him a platform. He was obviously standing out of Dundee, and we've got him onto a European stage, and I'm sure he will go on to a high level. But it's important to protect our interests as well, and get a decent fee and not be bullied into selling them for cheap. I also wanted to give a bit of praise to Morelos. So I think everyone, even from Rangers fans, are quick enough to criticise him, but it's only fair when he plays well. We give him a bit of credit for Kamara's goal. It was a fantastic assist to Kamara, which was a great ball. So much talk of this new style of play for Alfredo, and I think this highlights how much he gives to our team, even when he's not scoring goals. Craig, what do you think? I think this was his best game of the season, but in terms of, he obviously did score, but he just offered so much more. When maybe last season he wasn't in touch with parts of the play, the build-up and everything, he's just there to finish. I think he's seen on Thursday what he can give now. What do you think?
I'd agree that would be his best game of the season. He is playing a bit different this season. He's coming shorter. The link-up play, you mentioned the assist for Kamara switching the ball, but he done that maybe 3 or 4 times in the game as well. It's the way the whole team's setting up. We can afford for him to play like that this season, and it's actually making the whole team play better. Whereas last season it was just everything relied on Morelos. It was get the ball to Morelos and hopefully he scores, and get the ball to him and then we'll play off him. So just the way the whole team's playing, it makes a difference, and we can afford for Morelos maybe not to score as many goals because we've got other players stepping up that maybe last season wouldn't have. Whereas when you look at last season, it was all about Morelos scoring goals, which is brilliant, and that's what we want him to do. He's a main centre forward and our top goal scorer normally, so over the course of a season, you'd imagine he will get the most goals, so that's what we want from him. But when you get everyone else stepping up from defence, midfield, wingers, all scoring goals, we can afford for him to play a bit different. And as long as the team's winning, that's the main thing.
Absolutely. sticking on Morelos, they obviously grabbed the third goal with Tavernier grabbing another assist. Scott is now Rangers' top goal scorer in Europe, beating the great Alan Coyce record. I guess you can have your opinions on him, but you can't argue with that achievement at all, can you?
Not at all. All right, he kind of fell off the boil a wee bit, Alfredo. I didn't expect him to be here. I thought he would go, purely based on the way we recruited as well. I didn't expect Morelos to still be here. There's something about him in that tournament, though. There's something about him when he's playing in the Europa League. It's a fantastic achievement in the time that he's been here to now be our all-time Europe top goal scorer. I didn't think anybody would beat Super Ali. I think, as I say, if he decides to stay and he keeps putting in performances like that, and we get past Christmas with him, and then we get to the end of the season with him, he puts in performances like that, he's going to go for a good amount of money. But as I say, I love Alfredo. I love his celebration. I love when he slides and he points in the ground and he owns the place. I absolutely love him. So long may it continue, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's about finding, obviously, the balance. We want to keep him as long as we can. But we alluded to earlier, we know what such Colin, we're sort of the team that, we're not going to be able to hold on to these talents until their prime, are we?
No, and I find this season as a bonus that Morelos stays, and I know, going back to previous pods, I'm an absolute hypocrite. I think it was the third podcast we done, players we want to move on. I said Morelos, we should move him on and cash in now, and then the very last one before the transfer window, I was panicking at the idea he wouldn't be playing for Rangers this season. I think it's a bonus we brought him this year, and it's paying off. Craig, you were talking about that he's a more rounded player now because more people are chipping in. It takes the pressure off him, and it just allows him to show what more he's got in the game, even if it's going about doing the dirty work. And I think he knows he's loved here by the fans and the management. So he doesn't have to go and get that goal to be confident, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I know. I think he's, as you say, he's more of a team player, and he's not thinking about his individual achievements as such. So Craig, we were 3-1 up, really comfortable, playing nice football. What the fuck happened?
Too cocky, I think. We've seen today, we're capable. Me getting top of a team, we can play the football and we can keep going and we can go and get more goals. But that's easy doing that at home to Hamilton. I think when you're playing the bigger teams and you are playing a team such as Benfica, you need to be a wee bit smarter about it. At 2-1, I was thinking we should still try and get a goal. Then we got the third one, possibly. And again, this could be with hindsight. That's when you think about just shutting up shop. But I think just the way we were playing. So if you take away the last 10 minutes or whatever it was, we were so confident. We were playing so well. We were zipping the ball about all over the place. So why would you stop? The fullbacks were bombing on the way they do. Midfield was controlling it. The attack were getting chances. Kent had a couple hit the post. So I think it's easy to get caught up in the moment and just keep going and wanting more. But that is when we need to be a wee bit smarter. We're never going to go and get a result against Benfica that we got against Hamilton today. So once we get the game in the bag, we need to be a wee bit smarter with the game management, I would say.
What did you think of the second goal then, Craig?
It's just disappointing, isn't it? Holander's done so well, and he's slightly unlucky. He gets the ball kind of caught underneath him, and it takes a wee bobble off him, and the Benfica attacker's in. So it's a bit unlucky, but he should be doing better and dealing with it. So it's a hard one to take because we were so far in front and absolutely cruising it and bossing the game. Then once they get that one, it's always a wee bit nervy to finish things off. But even when they get one, that's when we should be shutting up shop. As we talked about earlier, getting a couple of subs on just to kill a bit of time. So we definitely need to get a wee bit smarter with that because we've seen it last season against, was it twice against Young Boys last season? It was the home and away game. They get a late winner, then a late equaliser against us. So you would hope we'd learn from that, which we have done domestically, but maybe in Europe we still need to get a wee bit sharper and a wee bit smarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin, I just want to raise a point. You said Al McGregor he gets angry inside his box, and the box is a safe place. He doesn't go out to like argue with refs. So what happened there? He was smiles at his box.
Are we talking about the second goal? Is it just me that thinks that McGregor kind of takes out Helander a wee bit in the second Ben-Picture goal? Like I keep on rewatching the back, and I don't know if this is just my bias for Helander that I want to pin it in someone else, but I think, does McGregor maybe rush out a bit too quickly, or rush out and he kind of catches Helander when he's trying to go for it? I don't know. I think it was just a mark watching at straws. Was that an actual skirmish between the two?
To be honest, I think McGregor caused a bit of panic, to be fair, which maybe affected Helander. You know, he's rushed out when did he need to? You know, we don't know. But I think that's maybe caused a bit of panic in there as well. In terms of, you know, the third goal as well. Scott, what's your thoughts on that? I thought it was quite preventable as well. I feel quite, you know, we said earlier he was slacking possession, and I think centre backs could have, you know, maybe got a bit tighter to them as well. You know, should we be worried about this? You know, obviously we've made a great start to the season, but, you know, in terms of complacency and game management, is there a wee issue? Not an issue, but is it something that you work on?
I think, all in all, everything you just said, I would 100% agree with. I think when it goes 3-2, I don't know if you are being a wee bit biased with Helander. I think Helander causes the panic in the first place with the second goal. And McGregor obviously has a wee bit of panic as well, but Helander's like a drunk man falling down, man. When he gets close to McGregor, I don't quite know what happened. I think after the second goal, especially, there has to be something done there. There has to be game management. There has to be a wee bit of shitehousery. Just fall down, I've got cramp or whatever, put the ball into Rose Ed, just anything to kind of break up the play a wee bit. Arfield would love to take that ball back. I think if you asked him yourself, he would say, I don't know why you try to do that. Helander loses him, so I've watched the goal. I don't know how many times that third goal. Helander loses him. Helander turns his back on him. That Darwin can then see Helander's back, and all he needs is that wee yard. I think Goldson believes that Helander's got him. Goldson's watching the game, and by the time the ball's through, I mean, I do like Helander, but he's never catching him. And when that boy's through, he's going to score. I don't think it's anything we need to be too concerned with. They're a really, really good team. They're probably, depending, hopefully if we get through, but they're going to be the best team that we play this season, I would imagine. I don't think we're going to play a better team than that, unless we get to the final. Hey, but I think, I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. It's just one of the nights. I think we didn't look panicked at 3-1. At 3-2, we did look a bit panicked, and as I say, it should have been a wee bit more just game management. I don't know about bringing on Balogun as well to play in there. I don't know what might have broke up the game. He could have maybe done the same thing he used to do with Edmondson when he used to put him on as a sitting fielder. But it's just one of them, again, we're picking holes in a draw away to a Champions League side, but it's because of the way it happened. We were so in control, and just it felt like in a split second that we were no longer in control of the game. But Helander will bounce back, and it'll be fine. It's nothing great to worry about, I don't think.
I think obviously if you score 3 goals in a game, I think you would be fairly confident you'd win it in any game, but I think we're a bit guilty of not taking our chances, Colin. I mean, you look at the game, Kent had a couple of great chances, Aribo, Morelos, probably should have killed them off.
You're right, Kent hits the post, Aribo has a great chance the first half, and you know what, I'm not going to sit here and say that after scoring 3 goals away from home in Europe that we're not taking our chances. There's no game, well, I was about to say maybe apart from today, but even today we didn't take all our chances. Today could have been more. I find Scott's right. This is nothing. I hope it's not anything great to be concerned about. It's we need to look at. It is really the first time, maybe bar Hibs, that we've not been able to see a game out, or kind of manage the game to our favour. And look at the opposition we're playing against. I'm not concerned about that in terms of taking chances, or I think it is just a blip.
Yeah. Well, Craig, 7 points out of 9, I guess. Despite obviously being disappointed, you couldn't win obviously on Thursday. You must be delighted with that.
Yep, absolutely. I think Europa League, we need to target winning your home games and drawing your away games. So we're ahead of schedule, if you ask me. So it's looking good so far. Although usually we do tend to do better in the first round of games, and then the second round of games we don't pick up as many points. So we'll see what happens, because it's not quite job done yet. That we really can't be asking for much more. 9 out of 9 would have been good, but 7 out of 9 we'll definitely take it.
Yeah, so moving on from the football, unfortunately, off the field we had quite a major incident with George Edmondson and Jordan Jones breaking social distancing and coronavirus rules and club guidelines. So, Scott, it's been a week since this has happened. How are you feeling about the situation now? The dust is sort of settled a wee bit from the initial shock of it.
Well, Jordan Jones is a moron, isn't he? Let's be honest. This guy's had the opportunity of a lifetime to play for his boyhood club. I don't know how many chances he has to have. I would be surprised if we ever see Jordan Jones again. Edmondson, I don't know. I think it's just a bad judgment call on his part. These players need to know that they're under the spotlight wherever they go. They play for the biggest club in this country. Anybody that sees them they're doing anything that they shouldn't be doing, it's going to get reported back. It's so daft. I don't know if it's a bit double standard saying that maybe give Edmondson a bit more time, but I think Jordan Jones hasn't done anything for me that makes him deserve to stay here, even on the pitch. He injured himself against Celtic for a stupid tackle. Again, probably out of frustration, and we probably all wanted to do it, but again, it's not the right decisions to be making. I would be shocked if I ever see Jordan Jones again. I say Edmondson, it does sound a bit double standards, I suppose, doesn't it? But Jordan Jones is no boy. He's not a stupid boy. Do you know what I mean? He's 27 years old. Edmondson's still young, but who knows? I don't know how they'll deal with it. I'm pretty sure that it's been dealt with pretty well. It could be the last we see of the both of them, but I'd like to forget that happened as quickly as possible and just continue back onto the football.
I think that's a big thing, Scott. You mentioned there how well the club have dealt with it, and a lot of fans are venting their frustration at the two players, rightly so, but fair play to the club for addressing it straight away with the press conference and then having the statement, I should say, and then having Steven Gerrard come out in an interview. I know it's a completely different set of circumstances and a different time, two different players, but I always think back to the situation with Barry Ferguson and Alan McGregor when they were acting like fucking daft Waynes, sticking the Vicky up to the press for Scotland. Alan McGregor got a chance because he was still fairly young at the time, and he had that kind of favour in the bank balance with the club and the management team. I think Edmondson might have that. I might be wrong, but with Jordan Jones, I think you're right. I can't see any way back for him. I think while Edmondson might have a future, if you look at Barry Ferguson, he already been in deep shit with like Glenn and Murray and all that kind of stuff. Jordan Jones put himself in harm's way against Celtic, and I think for the snippets you hear for the club, there was a bit of an attitude problem. That's why we didn't see him for so long. He's managed to get himself back in favour, but I don't see, and I might be hypocritical, I don't know if Ryan Jack maybe does this, but I look at this differently, or like Connor Golson, but there's enough. It's that terrible to say he's not important to Rangers the way they're playing right now, so I don't see why we should give him the benefit of the doubt a second time.
Yeah. Craig, if you get any thoughts on it, to be honest, my view is they both knew what they were doing. I don't care that they would have lied to get back into the club. They would not have advised them that they were at a party or whatever it is. I think they've been stupid, and I think we should look to sell them or loan them.
Yeah, I think it's all been said really. Nobody's called them a pair of fannies, which I'm disappointed in. So I'll step up and do that. They're a pair of fannies. I agree. I think Jones is done. He's on the pitch and off the pitch. I think he's had a few chances, and that'll be the end of him. Edmondson, what he's done is equally as bad as what Jones has done. They've done the same thing, but Edmondson hasn't done anything else over his time in Rangers wrong that we know about, whereas Jones has done a few things. So I think that's maybe the only slight difference, that Edmondson might get a bit of a chance to get back in. But even having said that, Balogun's doing brilliantly, so there's a good chance his contract gets extended, and then Katic comes back fit next season. So I don't imagine we're going to have 5 fit centre-backs next season, so Edmondson could be finished as well. But I think everything's been covered, just the pair of fannies had to be added in.
Lana Wolf must be shiting herself thinking about Edmondson going.
No half, mate, aye.
So, Colin, you're going to give us a wee quick roundup of the loan players out at the weekend?
I think this season we have so many young boys out on loan in Scotland. I think it's maybe good just to keep tabs on them. So across League 1 and League 2, we have 5 players. Well, 5 players out on loan. Zach Butterworth, he only got 20 minutes for Edinburgh City at the weekend, but we had Kieran Wright and Rhys Breen. They both started the last 2 games, played the full game for Partick Thistle. Matthew Shields, he played the full game for Clyde, but Cammy Palmer, who's just came back from Orange County and was loaned straight away to Clyde, he got injured midweek, so he should be out for a few weeks. So these 5 boys, I know we touched on it last week, I think at League 1 and League 2 level, these guys need to be impressing. It's good that they're all going to be in and around the first team so far for what it seems, but they need to be impressing that level. I know the club are going to be reviewing everybody's loan in January for these 5. So I think they need to have a really strong 5 months to have any sort of realistic future with Rangers. Moving on to the Championship, we had quite a few promising performances. Josh McPake started for Morton, and I think that's the 4th game in a row he started. Kai Kennedy, he's back in the fold. He played against Heart of Midlothian. Lewis Mayo got his second start for Dunfermline, and Jamie Maxwell actually got his first professional goal for Queen of the South. So I'll put, before we come to the players that are playing in the top flight, the last 4 that I mentioned, I think these are the players that are more realistic that we can maybe see coming into the top flight football in the next couple of years, or potentially the Rangers team. Is there Andy you're really looking to kick on this season and realistically get in the Rangers team in the next couple of years?
Kennedy, I would say, is the one that still gets so much potential. I think it's maybe a bit political now with him, his contract and off the field issues and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if he'll get a chance, but on the pitch, I would say Kennedy's the one with the best opportunity.
So touching on there, even we're talking about Edmondson, and the thought he might go and not having 5 centre backs next year. I would try and get rid of Edmondson and keep Mayo and keep him as the understudy. I've seen him play a few times and he looks like a good player. So yeah, I would say I'm the one I'm most looking forward to seeing Mayo.
I think for the 4 in the Championship, they're definitely the 2 that are standing out or that are most prominent in the eyes of the Youth Academy. We've got 5 players in total, or 6, in the top flight. 3 that are realistically we were looking to come back at some point. Stephen Kelly, he's made his 2nd start in a row for Ross County after quite a few weeks just coming on for the last 10 minutes or so. He got an assist for Ross County's goal with a short free kick front post. Really good ball in. Good to see he's in the starting 11. The 2 I've got questions for you, fellas, Robbie McCrory and Jake Hasty. So both haven't featured the last couple of games for different reasons. Robbie McCrory, he's dropped out of Livingston starting 11. and he's dropped out of the Scotland squad as well. Gary Holt's looked to give the other keeper a chance. Jake Casey's barely kicked a ball since he's arrived at Motherwell, so two different players, two different questions. Scott, I'll put it to the host, Robbie McCrory first. Is this maybe just a kick up the arse? It needs to stay top level, or anything to worry about at this point?
No, it might just be off form. It is unusual unless it was an injury for a keeper to get dropped. I think it's just the nature of the position. But yeah, you said it yourself. He's everywhere he's went. He's played. He's always been first choice, and now there'll be a lot of he'll need to work twice as hard than he has to be back in the Livingston team, and he'll be disappointed it's not in the Scotland team. But if he wants to be Rangers keeper, which he's got a lot of work to do, as promising he is, he'll need to up his game. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about McCrory. Jake Hasty, I think there is a lot to worry about. I don't know what's happened to his development, but he was absolutely flying in Motherwell. It's not worked out in his first year at Rangers. He's going back to Motherwell where you think he's going to be as equally as impressive that made him get the move. He's not done it at all. His attitude, I don't know. I'm obviously not sure what's happening with Motherwell, but to be honest, I would be very surprised if I seen him near the Rangers first team in the next couple of years.
That's me for the ones.
Excellent. So we'll move on to a light-hearted finale of the show. Hit us up with some patter, Colin.
Okay, that was a bit of misleading there. It's not my patter. It's the funny shit I've seen on Twitter. I don't know if you've seen, fellas, there's a fairly new page on Twitter, Rangers Clips, and it's just clips for the archives, old games, old interviews. Anybody go on and check it out. There's some crackers on there. The best one I've seen this week from that was, I think it was like maybe a dinner after Davy Cooper's testimonial, and Ali McCoy is a guest speaker at it, and he goes on, and to begin with, it's very heartfelt and heartwarming, talk about how good a guy Davy Cooper is and how good a player he is. This is well Davy Cooper sitting right next to him, but he brings out a gift. He's like, I wanted to give Davy Cooper something he's never had. He opens the box and it's a right fit. I enjoyed that.
Craig, have you got anything?
I don't know who tweeted it, so I can't give them credit, but it was after the Benfica game. Everyone's having their rant about us conceding goals, and somebody tweeted saying, to put things in perspective, we've conceded 4 goals since September, and Celtic have conceded 4 goals since 8 o'clock.
Scott, if you're getting in, sorry, I know you were late to the show, so you probably haven't had time to prepare, but have you seen anything on social media?
I seen one today, actually. The Hamilton official Twitter page put up after the 7th goal stopped the count. Well, that was quite good. I thought fair play to them for that. That was quite good.
I think it was the Sparta Prague official Twitter saying that he wasn't an electrician, but he produced a spark for the guy that scurried Celtic. Or else there was also one as well that somebody called the Benfica team a Piri Piri Bobby Wincher. Quite enjoyed that.
There's no comeback to that at all, is
No.
Right, we'll try and pull ourselves together and round up the show, but that's us. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long 2-week wait for our next game at home to Aberdeen. There'll be a lot of content coming over the next couple of weeks, so please keep your eyes peeled on our pages to get your fix of Rangers content. So thank you to Scott for an impressive debut, Craig and Colin for joining me today, and thank you all the listeners to listening. Thank you.